Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to today's video. I hope you're all doing okay. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 autumn winter high street looks and the sewing patterns that you can use to recreate them. These kind of inspiration videos are my absolute favourite to make, and that's just simply because I think I just love clothes. Ever since I was little I've just loved looking at clothes and keeping an eye on the changing of the seasons and what people are wearing, or new trends that are coming in. I might not always follow the trends these days like maybe I did in the past, but I still like to keep an eye on what's new and what's coming out and what people are wearing in the changing of the seasons and things like that. So I thought it would be a really fun video to make. So these sewing patterns that I'm going to be sharing with you today aren't necessarily ones that I'm planning to make for myself, because I have recently shared a video concentrating on 5 garments that I want to make for my autumn winter wardrobe this year. And I'm not going to get distracted until I've made those 5 things, and then maybe some of these will sneak into my sewing plans later on in the autumn and winter time, we'll see. But I thought I'd put this video together anyway because one, well, it's just good fun and also I hope that it might be inspirational to you too. So this weekend just gone I went shopping with my mum and my daughter and my niece. We had a nice little girly afternoon shopping and I had great fun looking at all of the new autumn and winter styles that were coming in on the high street stores. And I don't know if this is the same for you, but I feel as though I can't go shopping anymore without comparing everything that I see and like to a sewing pattern. So I absolutely love doing that, and it's surprising actually how many designs there are out there on the high street that are very similar to patterns in the sewing community, and even free patterns sometimes. So in my video today I've tried to include some free patterns as well, because I think it's always good to try and save money where you can, and using free patterns is definitely something that I want to be better at going forward. So just before I get started, I will just quickly share what I'm wearing today. So today I'm wearing my saltwater slip dress and I've layered it over a long sleeved black t-shirt. So if I'm honest, I'm not quite sure if black necessarily goes under this, but I thought I would give it a try today. So anyway, without further ado and chit chat, I will get into sharing the 5 autumn winter high street looks with you and the sewing patterns you can use to recreate them. So the first item that I saw everywhere in the shops at the weekend were half placket sweaters. So these have been around for a little while now actually. So these are the kind of sweaters that have the half placket down the front here, and they can be fastened either with some buttons or with a zipper, or sometimes they're just actually left open as a nice open v-neck. They often have quite large collars as well, or they can just have stand-up collars or a smaller collar to give more of a kind of sporty look. So I think predominantly the styles that were kind of coming through were really big, oversized half placket sweaters. Most of them seem to have the cuffs at the wrist and sometimes at the hemband as well. But I also saw a couple that had been lengthened into dresses and tunics, and some that were sleeveless as well that you could wear over things like this, like long sleeve tops and shirts and things like that, and those were really nice as well. So the first pattern that I found that you could use to recreate this look is the Style Arc Birds pattern. I love Style Arc, they're always really on trend. I think if I ever want to find a pattern for something that's sort of new on the high street, I would go to Style Arc because they are always really quite hot on the trends and things that are out there. So yeah, Style Arc have the Bird knit sweater. I love that name. So you can see it's quite a casual half placket sweater. It has the collar and it has a button placket fastening, and it has the sleeve cuffs and the hemband as well. So this one is a good one because it just has all of the features that you need really to make one of these half placket jumpers or sweaters. And it's a good basic that you could adapt and change up a little bit just to make a little bit more like the styles on the high street. You could quite easily make that collar a little bit larger if you wanted to, just by extending it a little bit. If you wanted to leave the hemband off, you could lengthen it into a tunic. You could even leave the sleeves off and have it as a pullover as well. I think this one would look really lovely in a sweatshirting fabric, so a really cosy sort of fleece back sweatshirting fabric. And if you wanted to, you could always colour block your sweater so that you have a main colour for the body of the jumper, and then you could have a more solid colour for the placket and the collar and the cuffs, and I was seeing quite a lot of that look on the high street as well. So if you wanted to move away from the sort of sweater or sweatshirt look, you could use a knit look fabric, like a really chunky rib or a cable knit or something like that, and that would give more of a sort of sweater feel rather than a sweatshirt feel. The next pattern I found that you could use to recreate this look is the Wardrobe by Me half zipper sweater. So Wardrobe by Me are actually a new pattern company to me, but they're available to buy from the Fold line. So as you can see from the image again, this is a really cozy looking sweater. This one has the stand-up neckline, but I believe that if you had the zipper open, you could just fold the collar down so it looks more like a collar rather than like a stand-up collar. And this one has the zipper fastening, of course, because it is called the half zipper sweater. And it has the hembands and the sleeve cuffs as well. So a kind of mix between a sweater and a sweatshirt, I'd say. And I think this one would work really well in a really soft, cozy boucle or like a Sherpa fleece or something like that. And that would be super cozy as a piece of outerwear. But if you wanted to kind of dress it up a little bit, you could always wear it tucked into a long, say, midi skirt or something like that. And then you could pair that outfit with a pair of boots or a pair of trainers or something like that. Chunky boots were everywhere in the shops, being worn with dresses and skirts and things like that, and a more casual top like this. So yeah, boucle, Sherpa fleece, anything that's kind of got that bobbly texture. But again, if you wanted to make it more sweater-like, there are loads of lovely chunky rib knits around in the fabric shops. Really nice cable knit fabrics and also chunky rib knits that really look as though they have been knitted rather than that they're fabric. And then the last pattern I found that I thought I would share was this McCall's pattern. And this one is slightly different in that it's more fitted. So if you're not a fan of that big oversized look, I think this would be a really good one because it's a kind of nod to the half placket sweater style, but it can be styled in your own way. It can be a little bit more fitted. So this one can be buttoned up, but it can also just have the V-neck and the lovely collar, so you don't necessarily have to have the buttons. It would be a lot easier to make that way. It has some really nice gathered bishop sleeves as well, which are gathered into a cuff, so you've got that kind of sort of puffy style sleeve, which I think is quite on trend as well. So this one would look really nice again in a kind of stretch sort of boucle knit that would be really warm and cozy. But if you wanted to have it more fitted and something that you could wear, say tucked into a maxi skirt or a pair of high-waisted flared jeans or trousers or something like that, then I would make it in a really tight rib knit. And I think that would be really good, and that would actually be a good one to wear underneath things as well. You could wear it underneath cardigans or pullovers or shirts and things like that. So the next item of clothing that I saw everywhere on the high street at the weekend were shirts. So obviously shirts, classic thing, been around for ages. But there were two particular styles that were kind of standing out, and one was that there were a lot of tencel blend fabric shirts, so quite fitted style shirts but made from a tencel blend fabric, so they were really nice and really drapey. So that was the first style of shirt, but then there was another style of shirt that seemed to be really popular, and that is the big oversized style shirt. And the oversized shirts were mainly made from like a soft blend cotton, mainly in white, but there were also quite a lot of striped shirts around, and also plaid, the kind of shacket style again, I suppose. But yeah, I think the one that really caught my eye was actually the sort of tencel blend shirts, and I loved how drapey they were, and I think they would be really nice as a layering piece to wear underneath things for autumn, so underneath jumpers, pullovers, cropped jumpers and things like that. And these were being styled really casually, so over a pair of leggings and big chunky boots with say a big pullover or a big gilet, like quite a long gilet. That was quite popular as well. So a few patterns that I thought you could use to recreate this look, should you want to, are the Tilly and the Buttons Rosa shirt. So this, I think, is one of Tilly's older patterns, and I don't think it's one that gets talked about very often. It's certainly not one that I've seen around very much. So this is quite a fitted style shirt. It's quite panelled. There are lots of parts to this shirt, and you'll see from the image that there's a nice yoke here, and then there's the optional piping detail as well. So this one would be really nice, I think, made slightly oversized and using a tencel blend fabric, so you have that more drapey feel, because a lot of the shirts that I saw on the high street did have that kind of yoke detail here, sometimes with a really kind of country style pointed yoke, which I thought was really nice. So I did think the Rosa shirt would be a really good one to match this style. And of course, if you wanted to, you could make this in a cotton or something a little bit more structured as well. Another shirt pattern that really caught my eye was the Deer and Doe Melliot shirt. So this again is another really classic looking shirt, but what I liked about this one was the fact that you could have the traditional shirt collar on a stand, or you could have a mandarin collar, and I really like that as well, because if you're not a fan of having a collar like that, which I'm not always sometimes, having the kind of mandarin collar still gives the same effect, because if you're wearing a mandarin collar underneath a pullover or something, you still get that kind of peak of shirt at the top, and that looks really nice as well. So this would be a really nice one if you wanted to practice your shirt making skills. And again, I think this would be really nice in a drapey fabric. You could make it oversized, or you could have it nice and fitted. So again, sort of tencel blend fabrics would work really nicely, something really fluid and really drapey. But also it would be nice in a cotton or a cotton lawn, like a Liberty Tana lawn or something, would work really nicely. So yeah, that's that one. If you want to go down the really sort of oversized shirt look, the Assembly line have a great pattern just simply called the oversized shirt, which I love. So this has that real oversized, like boyfriend or granddad look to it, which I really like. And this one would be great in a classic white cotton, I think, or maybe even a linen if you wanted something a little bit more soft or drapey. So I actually found a great free pattern for a shirt from Mood Fabrics. So Mood Fabrics are a website or a fabric company that are quite new to me actually, but they have such a huge range of free patterns on their website. And one of them is this one, is the Wren shirt. So this is a classic style shirt, but there are some sort of additional pieces to the pattern that you can use to make it much more flouncy and much more of a statement. But if you want a classic shirt, this is a great free pattern that you can use to recreate this look. So the next look I found everywhere on the high street at the weekend, and what I'm seeing online, is another one that I wasn't necessarily sure about at first, and it's pullovers. So pullovers were absolutely everywhere. So these kind of really boxy sleeveless knits, quite straight, sometimes with a high neck, sometimes with a half placket, sometimes with like a mock turtleneck. I've seen these worn just sleeveless with nothing underneath them, and they look really nice for warmer days obviously. And these were worn over leggings or tapered trousers, even maxi skirts sometimes. But mainly what I was seeing for sort of the colder weather were these kind of knitted boxy style pullovers, worn again over shirts and long sleeve t-shirts like what I'm wearing today. So a few patterns that you could use to recreate this look. This time I've actually included a couple of knitting patterns, just in case there are any knitters out there that want to have a go at knitting one of these pullovers. So a lovely, lovely one that caught my eye, and I've actually seen this around quite a lot on Instagram, is the Petite Knit Ingrid slipover. So this one is absolutely lovely. It's got some beautiful knitting detail in it. Obviously, if you weren't confident enough to knit those patterns, you could actually just use this pattern and knit it in stocking stitch, and it would be absolutely fine that way. But another great knitting pattern that I found was actually this one from Etsy. And this is by a pattern company called the Casual Knit Studio. And this is just a really simple pullover made with chunky yarn. And I think this would be a super speedy one to knit up. So that would be a really fun project if you are a knitter. Sewing wise for pullovers, again, a style arc have come up trumps with the Keith pullover. So this one is a really classic looking vest or pullover or sweater vest or whatever you want to call it. So this one has the classic V-neck. It's quite a deep V-neck. And I just think there's such a lot of potential for this one. So you could really make it your own. So you could make it really plain in like a knit fabric, again, a rib knit or a cable knit would look really good. But if you wanted to go for a more pattern style or more of a knitted look, you could actually use like a jacquard fabric or something like that, and then you would introduce a pattern that you could wear over say a white shirt or something, and that would look really nice. So another pattern that I thought I would include is this simplicity one, and I'm including this one because there are such a lot of options with it. So you can see from the pattern image that you can make it V-neck, just a plain V-neck tank top style again, that you can make oversized and wear over things. Or you can have it buttoned down at the front, which is also really nice, and again a good one for wearing over oversized shirts and things like that. You can also make this one cropped, so if you wanted to wear it over, say, high-waisted jeans or high-waisted skirts and things like that, you could make it nice and cropped so that it finishes at your waistline, and that gives a really nice sort of flattering vest style look. I haven't included a free pattern for a sweater vest, but what I was thinking was that actually I think you could use any sweatshirt pattern that you already own to recreate your own sweater vest pattern. So if you have a sweatshirt pattern with drop sleeves, say for example my beloved Jara sweatshirt pattern by Megan Nielsen, that has quite dropped sleeves. I think you could just take the sleeves out of this and leave them off, lengthen it down slightly, maybe widen the neck a little bit, and you'd quite easily have your own sweater vest pattern. So you wouldn't necessarily need to invest in another pattern. You could definitely use something that you already own. So yeah, super versatile pattern, that one. So the next item that I saw everywhere were boho dresses, and I couldn't do this video without including a dress style somewhere. So everywhere in the shops there were maxi dresses, really sort of boho looking, with your tiers and your smock styles, sometimes with the high neck and a lovely frill around. Lots of sort of big sleeves that are gathered into a sheared cuff or an actual sort of button cuff. Really pretty, really lovely floaty dresses. So there were the maxi styles, but then there were also mini styles. And where there were mini styles, they were long sleeved, sometimes high necked with the sort of smock style bib. So they're really oversized, really baby doll, again, worn quite short with tights and really chunky boots, almost like Dr. Martens style boots. Or really chunky pull-on boots. So I always love to have a look and see what dresses there are around, but dresses are something that I really feel loath to buy. I always feel as though if I can make a dress, I'd rather make it than buy it. And I think that's just simply because I have so many dress patterns that I could use, and a lot of them are similar to the patterns that I own. So there were quite a lot of shirt dresses around as well, maxi style and mini style, but I'm not going to include a shirt dress pattern this time because I did just share one recently in my own sewing plans for autumn and winter, and I'll link that video down below if you haven't seen it. In terms of colours, there are a lot of black bases out there, so black bases with ditzy florals in reds and oranges, lots of purple around actually, purple and green, so quite a lot of black bases with purple florals worn with purple accessories like cardigans and things like that. So patterns that I found for sewing similar dresses to those on the high street. The first one is actually the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie pattern. I thought I would include this pattern because it's definitely within the style of what we're seeing in the high street for this autumn and winter time, very smock-like, very oversized, big puffy sleeves, so I could not include this one. And the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie has this really nice undulating tuck feature along the bib of the dress, and I think that looks really pretty and really involved. So if you're looking for a really nice sewing project and one that you can sort of take your time on, I think the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie would be great. And if you wanted to lengthen that one down to be a maxi dress, then you could quite easily do that, and that would be on trend as well. Another really good dress pattern that I thought would definitely suit this kind of boho style is the new Craft House Everyday dress. So this is one that I keep seeing popping up all over Instagram, and it's absolutely lovely. So this is quite a basic looking dress. It has your round neck bodice. You can make it short or you can make it long by adding lots of different tiers or however many tiers you want. You can make it with short puffy sleeves, you can make it in a top. I just think there's so much potential with this pattern. You can really hack it around and make it your own. And I wanted to include this one because it has the tiers that you're seeing everywhere on the high street, and it also has the big puffy sleeves. And I think if you have a pattern like that in your pattern library, you can really sort of build on that and you can make it your own. You can add frills, you can add tiers, you can take tiers out, you can add a crochet trim if you wanted to be really boho. I think this is a really good basic pattern. Another one that I thought was really lovely is Burda 6023. This one is really boho, but what I liked particularly about this one was the V neckline and the button down sort of bodice here, and I love the tiers on this one. So from the line drawings it looks as though you've got the exposed frill or the exposed gather on this one, so it would take some time and a bit of perseverance and determination. But I think that if you could do those exposed gathers it would look absolutely beautiful. And then you can see from the pattern image again that you've got some really nice big sort of floaty puffy sleeves as well, and I just thought this one was so pretty. And I'm just going to sneak in a quick free pattern. So I found this lovely Amelia tea dress pattern on Craft World. You can see that it's quite a basic maxi style dress, and I think this would be a really good one if you just wanted a basic maxi dress pattern in your wardrobe, something that you just wanted to get your length from. You could change it up a little bit if you wanted to, but I think it's lovely just as it is. You could lengthen the sleeves down if you wanted it to be more autumn winter like and just make it in a darker fabric, and I think that would be a really good one to have if you want a lovely new free pattern. In terms of fabric, I think obviously viscose would be your friend here. Viscose is always lovely to work with. There are so many beautiful florals and prints and a lot of black bases out there at the moment. So I think a viscose, something with a lot of drape, maybe a rayon or maybe like a viscose crepe or something, would work really nicely. I think with the new Craft House dress you could maybe use a cotton if you wanted your dress to be really structured and have those sort of tiers and sleeves really emphasised. Go for a cotton or a cotton lawn because then you get more structure. So the last look that I was seeing everywhere on the high street were draggins. Have you ever heard of draggins? Because I hadn't. I knew I was seeing them everywhere, but I didn't realise quite what they were called. So draggins are a mix of tapered trousers and leggings. So they're kind of a comfy loungewear style almost take on your smart tailored pair of tapered leg trousers. So these were everywhere really. And I was seeing them in faux leather, sometimes checkered suiting fabrics, cottons and wools and things like that. But there were a lot of sort of ponty fabric styles of these as well. And I guess that's where you get the kind of jogger slash legging feel. Really comfy and really cozy to wear in the winter time, really casual, but they were being styled again with your oversized shirts and pullovers and gilets and things like that, and with trainers and sometimes chunky boots. So I think you had two different scales of these. There were the really casual jogger style made from a ponte or even a jogger style fabric, or there were quite a lot of sort of smarter tapered leg trousers as well, and these were more tailored with a fly and belt loops and a waistband. A few patterns that I've seen that would really suit this look. Style Arc has come up again and they have a really lovely pattern called the Parker Ponte pants. So these are made from stretch fabric, so obviously a ponte, but I think you could actually make them from like a faux leather or something if you really wanted to. So these are a really casual pair of trousers. They have an elasticated waistband, they have slant pockets, they're cropped and they're tapered. So yeah, I think these would really suit like a black ponte, maybe a navy or a khaki would look really nice as well. And that would go really nicely with an oversized shirt or a sweater vest or something like that. Another good one would be this one, the McCall's 8057. So this is a really casual elasticated pair of trousers being worn in a smart way. And I thought I would include this pattern just because it is so super easy, but also you've got a couple of other options in there. So you can make these trousers as a pair of shorts and you can also make them as wide leg trousers as well. And wide leg trousers are also quite in, although I haven't included them today. So yeah, this one I think would look really good in like a tencel blend fabric. So again, like with the shirts, like a really nice khaki or denim look tencel blend cotton would work really nicely. They'd drape really well and they would look kind of smart casual, so you'd get away wearing them out if you're going out in the evening. You could dress them up or down and they would be so lovely to wear. And then for your more kind of smart or tailored tapered leg trousers, I thought I would include this Simplicity pattern just for a more smart look and feel. And I really like how these have been made in the kind of checkered suiting fabric. I think they look really nice. So the good thing about this one is that it does look smarter, but actually the back of these trousers are elasticated, so they're still really comfy to wear. They don't have a zip fly or a waistband or anything like that, but they do look smarter than the other couple of patterns that I've shared. And then lastly, a free pattern, and these are the Clyde pants by Elizabeth Suzanne Studio. So I really like the look of these pants or trousers. So they're elasticated again, but these ones are panelled, so you get quite a nice shaping detail down the front. They have slant pockets as well, or front pockets, an elasticated waist, and again you could make these in so many different fabrics. You could make them in a ponte, you could make them in a tencel, a linen for the summer, or a suiting fabric if you wanted to be really smart, or you could make them, I think, in like a faux leather again and be really trendy. So I thought this was a really great free pattern, actually, a really good on-trend pattern that would be great to have in your pattern library. You could make these as a pair of shorts as well. Need I go on? So those are the 5 high street looks that I've been seeing out and about on the high street in the shops and also online as well, and the sewing patterns you could use to recreate them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. I feel as though I've kind of talked through them in a bit of a whirlwind. I will link everything that I've shared in images here and that I've talked about in the description below, so if there is anything that I've kind of brushed over, it should all be in the description below. Let me know if you do enjoy this kind of video. There were other looks that I could have included, but I've chosen just 5 for now. So if you'd like a part 2, let me know in the comments below. I'd really love you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love to talk about sewing and making and knitting and crochet and making a handmade wardrobe. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to consider subscribing. And if you are a regular viewer, thank you so much for joining me again today. Take care everyone, have a lovely weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.